So things are still a little bit choppy here. We've seen Bitcoin sort of bleed out today, and now it's pumped again. We're sitting at 62,800. I'm looking at ETH today as well. We saw yesterday, I touched on it. We had a massive bounce on ETH BTC, and now things are really starting to look interesting here. Was that a little fake out to the downside? Are we turning bullish on ETH here, or are they sending us straight back to hell? So we're going to find out a little bit about that today. Then I've got some other tokens lined up for you, and if you stick around, I'm going to give you a little look into the Sniper Club. I've got it ready for you guys. I want you to see what we are doing in there. So we got a lot to talk about today, guys. Let's get right into this. So Banter Bubble's not quite what it was yesterday. You know, on the weekends, we often get lulled into this false sense of security. We get these weekend pumps and things, and now reality has kicked in. The Asians sold us last night, and this is now the result of what you're looking at here. Is the result of a little bounce that we've actually just had. It was looking a little bit darker and dirtier a couple of hours ago. So if you've just tuned in now and you're saying Pepe's down 4%, ETH is down 4%, you're saying it's not too bad. Well, I mean, earlier we were basically shitting ourselves. It was getting pretty messy out there. Ray, did you have to change your undies there, or are you still okay? Are you strong? Ray, we got the thumbs up. Ray's good. Okay. He's got his bull cap on. Okay. No, so Ray's good, guys. Ray's good. We're waiting for the goggles. If we get the goggles back, then we can be a little bit more confident that Ray is on the right side of things. Okay. So let's take a look at what's just happened. Yeah, I want to show you Bitcoin, and I just want to show you these levels one more time, and just make sure we're not, or make sure you know that we're not exactly out of the woods just yet. So this is what I'm watching currently on the 4-hour situation here, and you can see what has happened here with BTC. It's sitting in this little wedge, and we've now got a little fight at the moment between the bulls and the bears. So what am I watching closely now? Level number one, we're going to just watch these lows that we've tapped earlier today. Now we've had a couple of touches here, so let's call it 61,800. That is now a monster zone that we want to be paying attention to. And then the 618 that came into play this weekend, we had this beautiful little move onto it. We've now reclaimed it. So a nice little level here that we can start paying attention to is 62,400, because we've now reclaimed the 618 region. I'm looking at the 62,400 as a support place for us. So if we do get a little pullback on BTC, we're going to look for a little bounce in that region. Well, at least the bulls are going to be looking for a little bounce in that region. Now, what do we have to be careful about? Number one, we've got this descending trend. You can see we've got a little mini trend in play in this bigger trend. So look out for any moves into this region here, 63,400. Look out in that region for a rejection, potential downside after BTC taps that. And if we are going to turn super bullish, well, then the next phase will be a break of this area and the retest, and then we're going to reassess and deal with that situation tomorrow if that happens. So right now, what am I watching on the downside? Let's just confirm 62,400. I'm watching the lows, 61,800. I'm looking at the 786, 61,100. These are big areas that I'm now watching today, and potentially we're going to hold these areas with the anticipation of this Hong Kong ETF that is now coming in the next couple of days. Are they going to try and dump us even harder just before, or are we going to see the market sort of settle until we get that launch, and then are they going to end us if that doesn't go very well? So that is basically what I'm looking at today. Now, something very important. Our best buddy, Michael Saylor. We got Michael strategy. We got MicroStrategy results coming out tonight. And remember this man's face. Remember, we say this every time. If you're selling your Bitcoin, if you're holding spot Bitcoin and you start selling it at areas like that, you are selling it to this man. He is looking at you. Just a reminder. Just zoom in. I've zoomed in as much as I can here. It's not letting me zoom in anymore, but we've got MicroStrategy results later today. Is that going to be bullish for the market? Is there going to be some talk? Are we going to get shown again how much profit this man is in after buying BTC over the last few years? It's we'll wait and see. That is coming up after the US market closes later today. So eyes on that. And then a little bit of FUD flowing around today, and it might have contributed to the downside in the market. There was this sort of FUD about Russia banning Bitcoin. Now, remember in the days when China used to ban it all the time. They ban it, unban it, we pump, dump. And now it seems they're starting in Russia with a couple of comments. So 𝗕𝗘𝗖𝗨𝗦𝗓𝗍 has just cleared this up here. And basically, it was a statement and not a fact as to what was going on. So calm down if you thought Russia was ruining the party for us. And then another one in the news. Obviously, the big news here is the Hong Kong ETF. Okay, these guys are talking 125 million US dollars. They want to exceed that 125 that the US did on their first day of the BTC ETF. So that's a little bit of bull source coming from the PR team. Okay, they're trying to pump this thing as hard as they can. Are they going to fall flat on their noses? Well, we're going to have to wait and see, because we've got some analysts here telling us that the China crypto ban could turn Hong Kong, their 25 billion dream, into a $1 billion reality. They might only get a much smaller portion of what they think they are going to get on this ETF. So we're going to have to wait and see how this thing is going to play out. But right now, I would say the market is quietly waiting for a move before we do anything drastic now. And this 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗢, well, I mean, he gave us a massive wave. And, let's wait and see. I mean, you must hear this music playing in the background. It's very special. But old 𝗣𝗥 thinks this Hong Kong ETF is going to start pumping things. So quite a few different views on at the moment. And we've seen it in the price action. We've seen it in the charts. And, today I'm going to show you a couple of bullish and bearish angles on ETH, for example. And, ETH is going to obviously dictate to us where we're going to be in the markets. If ETH is going to hell, well, we know these altcoins are going to be going to hell with it. And, if ETH is going to turn bullish, well, then the alts are going to be pumping. So there's a lot of views on the table at the moment. And another opinion, well, this is actually our indicator, Easy Algo. So it's not necessarily an opinion. It's just giving us the facts. And the facts are that this market opened 95% of tokens below the weekly pivot. Okay, that's generally a bearish sign for the week, unless we start reclaiming these weekly pivots on Easy Algo. So right now, the week has been teed up bearish, but things can change very quickly if we get a pump and we start reclaiming some weekly pivots. So follow Easy Algo here on Twitter, and they give you nice bits of information and just a guide for the week. It's nice to know what their current standing is and their current viewpoint. Right, now a big one that we've been watching so closely in the last, let's say in the last week, we've really been paying attention to this dominance, because it's been really telling us a story as to what has been going on. And we've really enjoyed this. We saw this weekend, we had a nice little dip this weekend in dominance that pumped our altcoins for us. Then we had this pump in dominance today, and these altcoins were getting smashed. They were taking a lot of heat out there today. And at the last minute, I'd say in the last hour or so, we've had a little bit of a reversal in the market. And we've noticed Bitcoin start pushing higher, and the alts are pushing higher. But what I would say here is you want to watch this one very closely now. This is a resistance area for us, for us altcoin traders. And we want to see this dominance start turning over. If we get this dominance start flipping over here after this little Bitcoin move, we might see a nice big push in some of the altcoins. They've been sitting on levels for a couple of days now. They've been waiting for a decision. They've been waiting to do something. So we could get a little bit of a move out of these alts if we do get this rejection here. And the way dominance has been playing on these horizontal supports on the 4 hour, I would say, look, there's a very good probability we get a rejection in this zone. Well, if not, what do we have to wait for? Well, if not, we need to just look a little bit higher at our next rejection zone. So if we start sending this dominance up, and you are feeling under a little bit more pressure on your altcoins, just bang out your dominance chart, take a look at this horizontal region, and look for your next relief zone or your next rejection zone for the altcoins. It's going to be around about 55%. So that is how I'm playing the dominance situation at the moment. And then I do have a couple of trades open here on Prime XBT. So again, lots of little scalper setups. And I was saying today on Sniper Club that there's no sort of high conviction big move setups at the moment that's going on. We're seeing alts sitting on good support zones. They're doing their thing, and we're getting signs that there was going to be a short-term bounce earlier today. And we fired off some levels on Sniper Club in some of the charts that we had. And we said that the signs were there that we were going to get some short-term bounce. But is it a high conviction move? No, it's not at the moment. So, my current view is we are still sort of short-term bearish, and I would say long-term, obviously mega bull on the current situation. But when there are scalps to be had, they are there, and they are there to be had, and we must take them. So this is my current trading situation. You can see my top one is a head short on Algo. I opened that earlier today. That's a head short, and then this afternoon we grabbed some AVAX, we got some Bitcoin, and I got some Phantom based on what the levels we were sitting at and what we were looking for. So we'll see how that goes as the day progresses. But that is the current situation, and nice to see Bitcoin giving a little bit of a push here at the moment. But we do have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of trends and things we need to get through. So a little bit of patience. If you want to trade with me on Prime XBT, there's an exclusive link in the description for you guys, and they're offering you a 7% sign-up bonus once you deposit your funds onto Prime XBT. And remember, you can also trade the S&P 500. You can trade gold. You can trade silver and oil and some forex on Prime XBT. They've got a whole separate platform, but they're all connected. So have a go there, and you can just send your crypto to that. You can convert it, and then you can trade all these other things on there. So having a bit of fun at the moment on Prime XBT. Now, let's get the real juice out. Okay, we'll get to the real juice shortly. We'll get there shortly. This is still our current view on Bitcoin. Okay, so nothing has changed here for me, and you can see we are in a downtrend. So the bears are in control until we start blowing this trend at the moment. So right now, still bearish, short-term bearish. And where does the bear party end? Well, it's difficult to say, but it would be very unusual for me for Bitcoin to find a bottom on a non-major area. So for me, a major area for Bitcoin is going to be the 60K region, and another major area for me is going to be this 50 to 52K region. For me, that's where there's potential bottoms. Floating around where it is right now feels like scalper town, feels like scalper setups available and things like that. But for me, I want to see a bottom. And how's that look on this first potential zone? Well, I'd love to see a little move into this area. I'd love to see a fake out under these candles, and then a nice little push higher. So just to come grab some of these stops, because we know there's going to be a lot of longs and there's going to be a lot of stops under these regions, and it would make perfect sense if they try and just dip a little bit below that level. So look out 58K, look out 59K. They can both come into play there if they are going to bleed us out. So look out for that sneaky little move there, and just to take out the stops before they send it higher. But right now for me, downtrend in play until we start breaking trends and things like that. We need to just be cautious. We need to not overtrade. We need to just be patient here, and let's not kill it with the leverage either. Let's just slow things down a little bit here. Okay, people in the chats, who's joining us today? Who's here? I see Cunning George is here giving the motorboat. 𝗬𝗬𝗬𝗬𝗬 here saying hit the lights. Eddie is loving ICP. Let's see what else we got. That guy Richard says looking fresh for a Monday. I'm feeling fresh. You guys, I was banging out a show late last night, and then we did a late Sniper Club stream as well. So we had a very late night, and feeling fresh on a Monday. I just want the market to be pumping though. It's way more fun when it's pumping. Let's see what's Bruce saying here in the back. He says cannot start today without the Lord of Entry. What's happening, Bruce? Come jump in the back here with us. If you're sitting there watching, drinking your coffee, come and join us. Okay, who else is here? Kevin's in the chats. Luke is here. What's happening? Suli, that's a new one. Hello. And Fahad is present. I like the way Fahad always announces that he's present. Okay, so what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Well, you saw the tile, obviously, but we are at a major zone here for ETH at the moment. And I've got a couple of bull cases and bear cases for you now to look at. So you're going to have to make up your own minds. And I'm also running a poll in the chats. I just want to see the sentiment there. So get into the chats under the show. I just want to see how that poll is going on what you guys are feeling about ETH. So let's just take a look quickly and see where you guys are at here. Let me just pause that. Okay, so 59% are still bullish. Okay, we like that. 2,600 send it to hell. 40% want to send ETH to hell. I mean, that's pretty dark. 2,600. Okay, 60% bulls. Okay, interesting. So let me just give you the information that we have in front of us, and then we can try and make an informed decision here using the charts. And I can give you shorts, I can give you long plays that we can look out for depending on your view on ETH. So, okay, number one, we've got Justin Sun. We know that Justin Sun bought 500 billion. How much did he buy, Ray? 500 million. He bought $500 million of ETH, okay, at an average entry price of 3,150, somewhere around there. So we know he is long-term bullish on ETH. he's just given his view here, saying in his honest opinion, he doesn't think this ETF is going to be approved in May. Okay, I think we all know that. I think we all agree that there's very little chance that that's going to happen. So that's not new information for us. And if anything, that could be deemed bullish information because the next date is in August. So we are now 2 or 3 months away from August, where we could start getting a nice little bullish push for ETH later on. Okay, so that for me, that news could be priced in. I think we could understand that. Then this is quite a big one. We've got Look On Chain here on Twitter. They're saying 6 whales dumped more than $140 million of ETH. Okay, so that is not a good sign that these whales are offloaded. Maybe they know something. Maybe there's something coming. Maybe there's some bad news coming on ETH. We'll just have to keep we'll just have to keep a watch. And then the local bear, I mean, Benjamin Cowan, very smart guy, and obviously he's got great opinions, and he gets it right a lot of the time. And he's our local ETH bear, and he's basically saying, he's just sending us down, basically. So there's a lot of bearish situations happening out there. And then one more, which was very interesting here. We've got 7,900 ETH transferred from an unknown wallet to Coinbase. What do people want to do when they transfer their ETH from a random wallet to Coinbase? Well, basically, I mean, I think the signs are there that they potentially want to sell their ETH. So look out. We've got another $25 million potentially going to get dumped now from ETH. So let's watch that. And then we've got Dupes giving us some bull source here on ETH. So he's saying the ETH ETF is now on the DTCC list. Okay, so basically, from what I understand, what this means is it's just on the list. Okay, so it's a good starting point, and it would be unlikely that it then would be not approved at some point in time if it is on the list. So he quite likes the look of that current thing. Then we've got Tony the Bull calling ETH BTC closed the weekly with a morning star pattern. So candle traders, the guys that like the candles, he's basically saying this is the same pattern that put in the 2019 bottom. Okay, so that is interesting information that we are now potentially repeating a candle from 5 years ago. So that is a potentially bullish sign there on ETH. And this was great. I really enjoyed this for a bull case on ETH. Follow these guys. Sentiment, also great info. They're saying ETH's average fee level has dipped to just $1.12 per network transaction. But basically what they are saying in this tweet here is they're saying when the fees really get super low, it means interest isn't there, and that often marks the bottom of a market. And we've seen when ETH fees get ridiculous and people on Twitter are sharing the cost of ETH transactions and they're showing their receipts of what it's costing them to transact, that's normally the top of a move. And right now these fees are so low, so there are signs there that is potentially the bottom of this ETH move as well. So look out for that. That is interesting information. And this is now my chart, the ETH BTC chart. And if we zoom in, we can see that we had a nice big pump this weekend. Is it linked to this eigenlayer mainnet launch, the narrative that's happening now, the restaking? Is that getting hyped up again as well? That remains to be seen. We're gonna take a look at some of those tokens as well. But interesting for me here was this a little fake out below the weekly just to grab some liquidity there and send things a little bit higher. Were they putting us under pressure just for fun and games? We're gonna have to wait and see. But now we have broken back into this weekly level. We've broken back into the zone, and for me, this support is back in play. 0.049 for me is now a huge area. If we get a pullback on this ETH BTC, we want to see this one holding. If that's going to hold this level, that tells me that we're potentially looking at this $3,600 target for ETH. If we're going to lose that level, that's going to tell me that we are potentially now looking at way more bearish things on ETH, and we could be tapping 2.8, we could be tapping 2.6 in the near future. So if I were you, I would get this chart out, get the ETH BTC chart, watch these levels closely. If we start losing them, we are potentially in for a little bit of deep burn there and a little bit more pain. So couple of things that we need to be paying attention to. And then Virtual Bacon, you guys have seen him on my show, also a great account to follow, and he's got a lot of alpha floating around, and he's calling this restaking narrative for the Eigen mainnet, and this is May-June, and we know that this is potentially super bullish for ETH and relevant tokens, because we are staking and we are restaking, and it just sounds like a giant pyramid scheme / bubble, whatever the hell's going on there. And it's all all fun and games, I think, these things until they fall over. But anyway, that could be very bullish for ETH and a lot of tokens in the ETH ecosystem. And just a note here, if you look at this chart here on Eigenlayer, you can see the TVL, the total value locked, is now pushing 16 billion. And if you look at this chart, you can just see it's just creeping higher and higher and higher. So, you know, that's telling me a couple of bullish things that are brewing there at the moment. Okay. Now, let's look at the actual USDT pairs with ETH. This is going to give us, or at least tell us, a little bit of a story here. And right now we are looking at an interesting situation. So where were we last night? We had a nice little weekend pump. And what did they do to us? They rejected us with ETH, on ETH, at the 50-day MA, the 618 fib, and this horizontal. And look at this beautiful rejection in that zone. Look at that little candle, how they sold us off last night. And anyone buying the top there definitely got a little bit smoked there, because they sent us straight down. And it felt like we were going straight back to hell. And luckily, we had our trends come and support us here. We had the descending trend, we had the rising trend, and we had our 618. So hanging around in this area at the moment. So what am I looking at right now for ETH? Well, if we're going to stay bullish, you got to mark this low. You got to mark today's low, this little dump. That's got to be your low that you are looking at now. If you're looking at longs on ETH and you want to be long right now in the current situation, your support that you're watching is 3,112. You've got to look at that region. If you start losing that level, that's going to potentially tell you that ETH is going to be drifting a little bit lower. But a nice little candle. I like the look of this bounce. It's a decent bounce so far, and nice and strong on the 4 hour. So let's keep our eyes on this at the moment. You can see ETH is busy trying to reclaim the 618. So that could be a bullish sign for us. So the minute we can just get up there, print a little high, then we can start ticking over and moving a little bit higher. So eyes on this right now. For me, I would say look for ETH to try and reclaim anything around 3,180. If we start reclaiming this 3,180, we could be in for a little move higher up. And then if we zoom out again, this could be just a typical squeeze play that we like to see in these altcoins. And what does that look like? Well, we generally just get this move down into these trends, and they give us this type of situation before they pop, and then they send that higher up. So that is what the bulls are looking for here on ETH at the moment. And big level now, 3,100. Watch that low very closely here. And what is the bear case? Well, there's a couple of bear cases here. So if we are saying ETH is now going on a short-term pump, and it might be pumping because of this ETF, it might be pumping for a few other reasons, but where can I look for a short? Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you a nice starting point for ETH. Number one, you're going to look for your 618 bounce area. Let's take a look here. We're going to just pull the fib from the high to the low, and we're going to see where it ties in. So right now you can see ETH is tying in nicely. The supports are tying in nicely here on the 618 and horizontal. So this could give you a potential short opportunity. So let's say you are bearish on ETH and we start pushing higher. What are you looking for? You're looking for an entry here potentially for your short. That could be the one that sends you lower down. Okay, so if you're looking at selling a pump, and then alternatively, if it does push a little bit higher and the bears are in the house again, you can see now this 3,380 level. This is a big area for us. This is a big short zone that you can start playing around with as well. Okay, so the bears are now getting covered for any pumps in this current situation. So look out for something like that. That's going to be option number one, a nice little pump into that area and a rejection. Look out there. And if they do send it a little bit higher, that is going to be your next area of interest that you're going to be looking at. And that might take us down to this 2,600 level. I'm going to tell you why 2,600 is interesting to me. And it's the 200-day moving average. And we've seen a lot of these altcoins want to come and test this 200-day. We've seen a whole selection of them over the last couple of weeks coming to ping that 200-day. And I would say it would be perfectly acceptable if it really did want to come down and ping it. It's not going to be pretty. And, Ray's going to be breaking things in the back there, I'm sure. Things are going to get damaged, but he's not going to be happy.
Go short. Go short.
But if you catch the short, then you're going to be cooking. So if there are ETH bears there sitting around, now you've got a plan. Any pumps, you want to be shorting any strength into good, solid areas. Okay, so remember, we don't really want to short on big support zones. We want to short either at a loss of support and a pump back into it, or we want to short at a pump into a nice little resistance area. So these are your current options here for ETH if you are bearish. And there is actually one more at play here. Let's say we start losing this existing trend line, we're going to be looking at something along these lines. You're going to send it down. You're probably going to bounce at a horizontal, and then your next option is going to be that type of situation that can come out to play. So bears, you are so covered now with the current shortage and the short situation. You can look for something along those lines if we start losing that trend. So there are 3 short scenarios that you can look out for now, and copy this chart, mark these down on your side, and set your alarms in those areas. And if you are a bull, well, I'm going to give you one trade right now. If you are an ETH bull, this is where you are longing. Okay, you can long this dip that we just had and make an assumption that ETH BTC was good and that bounce was strong, and we're going to hold. And this is your move now. This is your play if you're looking for an ETH long. And the potential target here, if this ETF goes well, for me, is about this 3,600 region. So we're looking at a little move higher up here, potentially for ETH. So bulls, there's one trade here for you right now. And this is what it looks like. So your support that you're going to be watching, 3,100, watch that zone. Your entry is roundabout here. Take a look, see how that plays out. And then where can you exit? Well, if it starts going south and things start getting ugly, you need to find your areas. Where does it get invalidated? Where can you bail on the current trade? So option 1 is going to be your 3,100 level. Option 2, it's got to be this 3,060 level. So if we get a candle close under this 3,060 level, maybe you want to look at starting to cut those bullish long positions. So that is the current plan. 3 bear options, 1 bull option right now as things are standing. Ray, which one are you taking, bro?
I'm gonna take both. I'm gonna play both sides.
So are you long now? I'm long ETH, bro.
You're a switch hitter. You gotta be a switch hitter in the sideways market.
Okay, so I'm long ETH. Okay, what I would suggest, if you guys don't want to be short, okay, and you long, if we get the pump into these reaction zones, you know the drill. Those are TP zones. Don't go flashing your P&L without closing your trade. If it does push into that area, those are TP areas. You take profits, you raise your stops. Remember, this market is messy at the moment, and any moves that we are getting, and we're seeing it across the board, any small little pumps, we're getting rejected and we're getting slapped around. So if you don't want to be shorting, just make sure these are your resistance zones. These are the zones that you are taking profits. So reminder, zone number 1, 3,270, zone number 2, 3,380. Those are your big resistance areas for ETH. And now you have a perfect plan. The bulls and the bears are covered. Are we happy? We do a good job there, Ray.
All good except for the likes. Why do we have only 200 likes?
Guys, if you're enjoying the content, okay, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You know exactly what to do now, and get involved, and just make Uncle Ray, make him happy. We need him happy. We can't have him grumpy here. And on another topic that we actually need to just look at quickly, the GUMMY situation. Now remember, there's multiple ways that you can take part in these GUMMY airdrops, and the best thing you can do if you want to find out more about it is you can follow GUMMY on Solana. Okay, so just make sure you're following the correct account. Okay, right now you can see there's 90,000 followers there at the moment, and there's just a little note here. It says new users sign up with the link in the description below. Okay, deposit $100 or more and get a percent of the GUMMY airdrop. So grab a link in the description below. Existing users, it says trade GUMMY on Bybit with either existing Banter sign up links or a school sign up link and get a percent of 2 million GUMMY airdrops. And then there's another one for a share of $2 million of GUMMY. Follow the social competition rules. So go into their Twitter account, follow it, see what's going on. There's a lot happening here with GUMMY. Take a look there. Don't forget about this, because you don't want to miss out on basically what is free. All you need to do is put a little bit of energy into it. We've seen how these guys have benefited from farming GUMMY and doing all these things, and that's essentially all you need to do. Okay, let's get into some ETH plays here. What can pump when ETH pumps? Now let's not forget an old favorite, this ENS. This was always a big mover for us, and we can see this thing is volatile. It's proper volatile, this thing. And when ETH starts pumping, we know we can get some massive moves out of this ENS. Look what we had here. We had 180% pump, that first big candle that they gave us. Then after another dip, they gave us, what did they give us here? 97% pump on this ENS. So things are very interesting here for this ENS play. Let's see. They've dumped us 65%. So that is volatility at its finest. This is shitcoinery at its absolute best. This is altcoin trading. It's basically altcoin trading at its best. I mean, this is a typical look at the volatility in these altcoins. And, you know, if we're going to get some bulls out of ETH, what are we looking at? Well, I'd say this ENS, we know that this thing is a pumper. And what you need to watch for me, big support now. We've reclaimed this 200-day moving average at 15.3, and we've reclaimed this massive 618 pool. Look at the 618 pool. It's a weekly pool, so we know that this is a very strong zone, and we are busy trying to reclaim a couple of weeklies here as well. Look at these weekly candles. Look at the size of this support that we have now reclaimed. So for me, there's potentially something going to happen here on ENS. Keep your eyes on this one, and for a little move here, 19 would be target number 1 that I would pay attention to. So first zone, maybe a 20% move. If we do start pushing higher, 70%. And remember, this is now for the ETH bulls. If you are bullish on ETH, then you're going to see something like ENS really start ripping. If you are bearish, well, what I would suggest is take a step back, just wait a little bit. And you want to start looking at areas like this where we push into potential resistance zones, like the 50-day moving average, for example. That is where you can potentially short this ENS situation. So pay attention to this. Bulls right now, 200-day MA, weekly support, 618 fib support on a weekly pool. That's a pretty big area as far as I'm concerned. So watch 15 as your support zone. Look out for rejections around about 19. And that is the plan. That is the current plan. 𝗬𝗓𝗘 likes a bit of Redo. I was calling it Redemption Dog, but it's actually Resistance Dog. I keep getting that one confused. We need to check in. That's a TON flavor. That's a TON network play. So if you're bullish on TON, you want to be looking at the dog on the TON network. And for me, that is this Redo Dog. I think that's a great one. Mokujin 94 says China Pump is coming. Will says Hong Kong ETF. Bullshit. Guys, this is the beauty of a market. I mean, this is what makes the market so good. Everyone's got a different opinion. That's why we got buyers. That's why we got sellers. So everybody is going to be happy at the end of the day. They all got a piece of action. And, you know, it depends on the PR people behind it. But, you know, there were some pretty bullish statements coming out of those, the Hong Kong ETF guys. And they were kind of put in their place with some of the other articles we read that the volume won't be so good. So it remains to be seen. But it opens tomorrow. Let's see. Is there going to be some action? Let's wait and see what is going to play out. Just, you know, small positions here. Let's pay attention. When we start getting a proper move, then we can start really playing the game. Okay, let's see. Bonk says, who's Bonk? Bonk says, reverse hammer on the Bonk monthly chart. Is he sending himself to hell? Is Bonk literally sending himself to hell? We need to know. Ray, what's going on? Is this the actual Bonk guy? What's the story? Okay, here's another ETH play. This is ETHFI. And this was a setup I gave on Sniper Club yesterday evening. After the show, we did a live session for the Sniper Club members. And this was an area I was looking for ETHFI. And it's come in perfectly here onto this 382. So 382 and horizontal came into play. So ETHFI traders, well, if you want to be long now, you are long at resistance. So let me just tell you what we need to look for. But right now, 4.2 is your support that you're going to be watching. Keep your eyes on this 4.2. When do we turn super bullish? Now on this ETHFI. Well, you can see what's going on here. We've got a nice little resistance area up here. Let's pay attention there. If we do get that pop higher, then we can start getting super bullish on this ETHFI. But right now, it's a little range play that we've seen happen here. And we've got a little move out of that. Let's see if they're going to push it higher. A little 15% pump. So if you got that one, well done to the Sniper Club players there. But look out now. This is TP zone. This is resistance. This is where you need to just be a little bit watchful on the current situation. But if we do come back and visit the zone, 4.2 could be a nice little bull zone. If you are bearish, well, you're at resistance. So you could potentially start shorting this right now. This is your resistance area. And if you want to jump on that train, this is your zone. This is what it's going to look like. You're going to just look to exit above these highs. So we've seen a pump into resistance, and you're going to set it up so that your stop is above these highs. You don't want to be in the highs in case they come and just try and ping that one more time. So look out for that. And it will be something along these lines. And if you are super bearish on the market as a whole, you're going to target this 3.3 level. If you are not so bearish and you want to just target a little pullback, just remember your risk reward is pretty low. on this type of short if this is your entry now, because your stop size has to be about 5%. So remember, if you're trading leverage, you want the tightest stop possible, and you really need to be greedy with your entries, whether you're shorting or longing. You want to be super greedy and try and keep these things around 2 or 3%, and make sure that your upside is at least, you know, probably a 2 to 1 at minimum. I would say you want to look for on your trades, long or short. So look out for that. Right now, this is probably about a 1.75 to 1 if you want to play that game. If you have a deeper view and you want to take it deeper, well, then the risk reward is obviously much bigger. It's around about 5 to 1. So look out for that one. Okay, another player for us, Optimism, and we saw the chart. We saw a nice little bounce, Optimism versus BTC. It was absolutely bottomed out yesterday. Can it get any deeper than that? Well, if it starts getting lower than that, it's going to be really, really ugly for Optimism. But interesting one, you know, it hasn't been performing very well, and it's been quite a shitty trade. And I know the guys on Twitter and the research guys and everybody likes to jump into an Optimism play on ETH strength, and maybe one day it's going to actually surprise us and do something amazing. But right now, if you are looking at Optimism as a potential play now on ETH strength, I would say just sit back a little bit. There is no rush at the moment. You can see we got a downtrend in play here. We got a big resistance zone, and there's nothing really happening right now for Optimism for me until we start blowing this trend in horizontal. So you can see this huge zone here for us, 2.8. That's major resistance. It's the 200-day MA. It's horizontals in play, and it's the trend. So look out here. Massive resistance zone. If we do ping into this area, look for some kind of rejection there, especially for the bears. That is your hot zone where you want to send this thing lower. If this thing is going to go higher, well, it's a very simple play that you are looking for. Let it pop this higher. Let it pop the 200-day MA. Let it pop this horizontal. Once we break that area, you can start looking for supports in this area. We can start fiddling around with retests, and we can start playing around in these type of zones, and then potentially look higher. So Optimism, I would say trend break coming potentially. Look out at the resistance zone. Just be patient. There's no actual rush here on Optimism. Let it play out a little bit more. If these things are going to take off, you can always catch up later. These things can really start ripping, you know, once ETH starts going, because we might see a situation where ETH pumps, these things lag a little bit, then ETH settles down, and then these things start absolutely firing. So just be patient on this one. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. Bogdan likes Say today. I see you saying. Diablo says he misses panic buying. Let's see what else. Who else is here? Fahad likes render. I think I've actually got a render setup, and I gave tons of setups in Sniper Club today. Let's actually get this. Let's actually get this thing going. Let's pull up Sniper Club. Let's check the likes here first. Head of like. Are you listening to music in the background? What's going on? What's our likeage here? What's our situation?
253.
Guys, I'm gonna give you a window into the Sniper Club. I'm gonna show you some of the stuff we are doing in there, but just you got to give us some likes. I'm not going to just open that up for nothing there for you guys. So give us some likes. Head of Likes is watching. I'm going to jump into my next chart that I've got for you guys. And I must say, I saw a very interesting comment today. I saw Terpina saying loop ring, but that actually, I actually thought she was saying Litecoin. And if you take a look at that Litecoin versus BTC chart, I don't think it can get any deeper and darker and lower than that. So there might be a little reversal coming there on that Litecoin situation too. So just something to watch. I'm not going to look at it today. But if it warrants itself, maybe in the next couple of days, we'll take a look at it. Let's go, while we wait for Ray to tell us what the story is, let's look at ARB. Okay, so ARB is another ETH play that you could potentially look at. And interestingly, so we've seen two death crosses. Okay, so just a reminder, a death cross is when the 50-day moving average cuts through the 200-day moving average, and that generally signifies a very bearish scenario that is going to be playing out. This could be a super bearish long-term sign for something like Arbitrum at the moment. So we can see this 50-day MA pushing lower. We've got the 200-day MA like that, and that generally is going to tell us that this thing could be trending lower. But something very interesting about death crosses, and now it doesn't happen every time, but we see it time and time again. When the death cross actually happens, we know that this token has been bearish for a very long time, and that 50-day has been moving into that area based on a lot of downside. And many times we have seen when this death cross forms, we often get a pump at the strangest time. It's a little bit counterintuitive, but by the time the death cross arrives, you often get a situation where you get a strong bounce, like a dead cat bounce, and then they send it lower. So just something notable here. We have seen it happen in the past. It doesn't happen every time. And that little that little pump we had this weekend, maybe that was the little move, on the death cross. Maybe that was the small little pump. But if not, I would say pay attention here, watch this arbitrum, and it could be due some kind of move. And there's a nice juicy resistance zone a little bit higher up that you guys might be interested in. And look at this. It's the 200-day MA, it's the 50-day MA, and it's horizontal. So the bears, I've got a gift for you. Okay, when everyone's getting super bullish, if we do get a pump into this region and everybody is screaming and crying and telling us moon time and all these things, okay, here's a little secret for you bears. 1.4, okay, 1.4 to 1.42. Watch that area closely. Mark it now on your charts in case there's some kind of pump here on arbitrum, because this is going to be a nice thick resistance zone for the bears to start jumping into and start opening proper shorts here on these tokens. So pay attention here. Mark this level on your charts. 1.41, 1.42, somewhere in that region there could offer you a proper short opportunity that you can tell your grandkids about on arbitrum, and potentially on Lido as well. So let me show you this current Lido situation. Pretty much the same. Okay, we've got the death cross. The death cross has just happened. Are we going to get one more sympathy pump into this 200-day MA and 50-day MA? Are they going to give it to us? And if they do, we've got a gift for the bears one more time here. And you can see this little level. Look at this here. Look at these horizontals. Look at this 200-day. Look at this 50-day. It's starting to look very nice and juicy there. So bears, you want to mark this one on your chart. Any moves into that zone, this could offer you a little gift as well. If you want to send ETH, you want to send Lido, you want to send ARB, you want to send all these things to the depth of hell, that is going to be your marker. That is going to be your opportunity that you're going to be looking for. So Lido, 2.6. If you get some kind of move up there, 2.6, you're looking for a push into that zone, and then you want to send that one lower. Okay, but that's enough bear talk. Now, what do the bulls do if things start moving? Well, what I can give you right now for Lido is a major support area. Okay, we know that this is something that that has come into play now a couple of times, and it's a good looking support area. We've got a 786 pool here that plays out on a weekly level as well. We've got a rising trend from way back. We've got this trend pool from June 2022. Okay, so this is a trend that has held here for 2 years on Lido. Are we going to lose this trend? If we lose this trend, it's max bearish. But are we going to hold this? Are they going to give us one more bounce here on Lido? So what I would say here, Lido traders, look out. 1.95. This is a nice little hot zone here for us. If we do get pushed down into this region, that for me is a nice little bull zone. That's an area where you are looking to buy, where you want to just ride it up. And that could be the long trade into this potential bearish area that we've got here for you guys. Look at this. Could be a nice little 30% mover here for you guys into the 50-day MA, the 200-day MA. And then that is where you can send this thing a little bit lower. Okay. Who's liking these bear setups today? Jane. Jane says, where's the cute guy today? She's talking about DJ and David. We'll get him back on. But you must like his setups more, more than his cuteness. I hope you like his setups. Ray, how's our likes here? What are we doing?
We're at 50%.
50%. Okay, guys, come. Just like. I want to show you the Sniper Club. Come on. We're going to get there. Okay, let's go. AVAX. So this was a nice one today. Lots of strength today. And look, we're getting excited about a 2 or 3% candle, but my God, this market has been bearish lately. So, any little bit of spice that they give us is a little bit exciting. And AVAX, nice little move today. And I teed this one up in the Sniper Club for the Sniper Club members. They got this chart today. They got my comments on it and my thoughts behind a potential bounce here. And it's played out quite nicely here. We've got a little pullback into a 618. So nice little action here. The scalpers would have loved this one. And nice little push into the 618 and horizontal. So looking good. We are now reclaiming the 200-day MA. But where does that leave us? Bigger picture. If we're looking for bigger moves, we can't get that excited until we start blowing through this trend. There's a lot of work to do here. for AVAX. So step one is just a potential range trade, just a potential trade back to these highs here at 39. So look out for that 39 move. And the super bullish play here would be this break of trend, this retest of horizontal and 200-day MA, and then a nice big push into this 50-day MA. So that's the most sort of bullish case I can give you for AVAX at the moment. That is what you're going to be looking for. So right now, if you miss this AVAX move, I wouldn't do anything. Right now, I would just kick back and wait, let it break its trend if it wants to, or let it come back a little bit lower and pull back and see if you can snag another entry there. And, you know, really, the bulls, you just want to see this thing break trend before you can start getting too excited about the situation. And then remember, your first play is just the range high at around about 39. That's going to be your first zone that you're going to be watching. And then as far as support goes, we've got a nice little zone here. Look at this trend that we've got from October 23. So we got a nice little trend here in play. We've got 618 support. We've got 786 support. We've got horizontals. And this area for me for AVAX, it's looking okay for now. So unless this market goes bad and things really get filthy here, I'd like to see AVAX hover around this area and potentially hold that for us before we go a little bit higher. Okay, Ari says love from Portugal. Love from Portugal. Candy says smash it. And how many counts do I need to like this with? Let's see. Rudy's in the chats here as well, also hyping everybody up here. Okay, JD Bruce says those people in China got wrecked. Let me know what who he's talking about here. Let's see. Oh, he's talking about the real estate guys in China. Okay, Ray, I think we got enough likes here. Let's fire this thing up. Let's get this thing going. Okay. Let's pull up the Sniper Club. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure I can get the screen up for you guys. Okay, so what is the Sniper Club? Well, the Sniper Club is a paid service, okay? The Sniper Club is me and Sheldon and the Sniper team. You've seen Bruce, you've seen Simon, you've seen DJ and Dave, and we've got a massive team in there and an amazing community that we are building in the Sniper Club. And I just wanted to give you guys a look. For those of you, I mean, you hear me talking about this thing all the time, but you have no idea what it is. So I just wanted to bang the screen up here for you and just make sure I can show you what it's all about. So there's a lot going on in Sniper Club. I'm just going to give you a window into my section of what I'm doing in there and you know, how it can potentially benefit you. But here's a typical market update that I posted today. And you know, basically I was just giving them a rundown on the market. I was saying, you know, where we are with dominance, where we are with BTC, what I'm looking at the alts. And you know, I did say the general picture I was seeing here today was alts currently on support regions, which could offer a short time frame bounce. Okay, so you know, we saw this picture that we were looking for a potential bounce. So we teed the Sniper Club members up to look for that type of thing. And I just want to pull up, these are my charts here. So every day I come through and I update all these charts you see on the left hand side, and we are slowly adding to this list and growing this list. And you know, one of the charts here, for example, was AVAX that we posted today. And here's my comments, and here's the setup that I drop every single day. You can see I update these charts, I give you these zones of interest, I tell you where we're looking for these bounces and what my plan is on these particular charts. Here's render, for example. Today I said there were 3 main regions for a potential bounce that I'm watching, and I gave you those zones, I gave you the potential longs setups, and this was actually previously playing out a short setup that I had dropped in the charts as well. And then today I was saying we were looking for a bounce here for render, and we did indeed actually get a bounce on a lot of these coins. Now, are they going to follow through? Well, that remains to be seen, but this is the type of thing in the Sniper Club from me on a daily basis. So these things are available. If you don't have time to do your own charting, what you can do is check in every day, come and look through these charts that I've prepped for you guys, and you will see my ideas, you will see my thoughts and all these setups that are available for you. You don't have to do the work. All you need to do is look at the charts. You know, what is Dylan's main area? Where's his next area? What are his high conviction zones? And you can plan accordingly as to what you want to do. This is Ocean, for example. You can see I gave a nice little setup there for Ocean, what I was looking for, areas of interest and a high conviction long zone. You can see Ocean, I actually teed up lower down. And, you know, that is basically printing a view for me at the moment, that we are seeing a lot of altcoins bouncing in these small little areas, but they are very short-lived moves that we are getting at the moment. And it almost feels like the real high conviction move has to be a little bit lower down. And, that's why I keep saying we need to just be patient here. We don't want to force things. We can scalp all day long, but you need to be pulling up your stops as quickly as you can. You need to be trading smaller positions. You need to be less aggressive with some of your things until we know for sure that the market has moved and that the bulls are all systems go. We need to just play a little bit easy. Okay, and then what else do we have here? You can see we've got 𝗔𝗘𝗩𝗢's section. We've got Bruce's section as well. We've got Chaos dropping his stuff. We've got Mama Sniper in the Sniper Club. She's dropping trades. If she's taking trades, she's letting you guys know what she's doing in there. We've got 𝗬𝗚𝗚𝗏 in there. We've added that now. We've got 𝗬𝗚𝗚𝗏 signals and things like that coming through as well. Then we've got a fundamental section where I've got Rodolfo. There's Rodolfo. Follow him on Twitter as well. He's got his little fundamental section there. And then we've got airdrops. I mean, this has been an absolute hit here. And we've got Chaos running these airdrops, making the guys so much cash. And in fact, if you are in Sniper Club and you are cooking on these airdrops, and did you get the latest one, just let us know in the chats what's happening there. And I mean, Simon's working incredibly hard here with these airdrops. He's telling you guys how to basically print free money by doing various things here in the Sniper Club. And then don't forget, we also do Zooms and all these things in Sniper Club. We got up to I think 7 or 8 Zooms a week that we are doing, mixed between Sheldon, myself, 𝗔𝗘𝗩𝗢, Bruce, Simon, and even Craig is involved there. OG Craig is doing things. We got psychology sessions, all these things going on in there. So here's our events list. You can see here's our schedule for the week that you can follow, and you can see where these events are. You can join them, and they're all recorded as well. So if you missed the event, you can always just watch the recording afterwards and see what we were talking about. So there's a lot happening in Sniper Club. If you're interested in Sniper Club, grab the link in the description below and sign up and come and hang out with us and see what it's all about. Take advantage of what we are doing in the Sniper Club. Okay, let's bang out a couple more charts here for you guys. Okay, so just closing out, here's render. So there was a question on render. So if you are in Sniper Club, obviously you have access to these charts that we are doing. And well, this was my render update from earlier today. So there we go. So we got a little bounce there on render. So zone number 1 has been pinged and we got a little reaction there. Okay, so now in a situation like that, you get your reaction, and once it's moving, you can start de-risking yourself pretty quickly once these trades start moving. And remember what I was saying, these moves are short-lived at the moment. We're in bearish conditions. So what we've seen lately is a lot of these shorts that are playing out really well. And this was one of the shorts that we grabbed in the Sniper Club now a couple of days back. So right now, the bulls, what do they want to see? They just want to see this push up into this range high. So render traders, watch 7.6. That is zone number 1. There's a potential move coming here. Zone number 2 for render, a little bit lower down, 7.16. And then where's my high conviction zone? Where's my big area? And I've marked it out here for render, and this is why I really like this big zone here. This is the higher conviction play. This is the one where you start looking at maybe a bigger position. This is the one you're looking at maybe a bigger stop as well. And you want to be playing for a little bit of a longer move, a bigger play, maybe a swing trade, if that makes sense to you guys. So for me, render, the big zone for me that I'm watching is 6. Look at that zone. It's the 200-day MA. It's a rising trend, and it's some horizontals coming into play there with a 618. So render traders, big zone coming at 6 that I'm watching very closely, and we just need to be patient there and let it come to us. We don't need to force it. Let it come back to us. And then here's Ocean, just another similar setup. So again, the same story that I'm telling you guys. Why we are short-term bearish at the moment, long-term we are bullish. And how do we get there? Well, we could get there on something like Ocean. It could be very simple. We could just bleed out, get a little bounce, have a little trade, and then we get to our high conviction zone. And that high conviction zone, one more time, for this example, 786 fib, 200-day MA, and horizontals coming into play here. And by then, we should see all these stocks have reset as well, the stochastics RSIs. And that could then give us our big move. And if at any point in time, any of these alts start pumping before we hit these zones, you can always then play the catch-up game. You can grab these trend breaks. So there's no urgency. If we start breaking these trends, you can then grab the retest, and then you can play that game. So if if it reverses before it hits that big high conviction zone and starts ripping through a trend, there's always going to be an entry later. So don't feel you're missing out. Don't try and force anything. And remember, one step at a time. We break these resistance zones, then we're going to play these supports for potential longs. So there's always a plan. There's always a plan here for these setups. Okay. Wow. Let's see. What else do I have for you guys? Oh, I got one more for you. Pyth. Okay, now we know 𝗘𝗫𝗖𝗨𝗦𝗘𝗢. He's not the biggest fan of Pyth because he's the biggest link bull in history. Okay, so he's obviously dropped this thing now saying 25% of the Pyth supply will be unlocked on the 20th of May. Okay, so I mean, that's massive. And if it's correct, I mean, that's a huge amount of Pyth that's potentially getting unlocked there. So I just wanted to give you guys a Pyth chart just so you have something to work with. And if this does turn out to be the case, then we need to, we just need to confirm that that is the amount that is getting unlocked. If it is, there's potentially a little bit of selling that's going to take place. So if you are trading Pyth, your first little area that you want to watch, your first big zone that you need to pay attention to for me on Pyth is 0.43 to 0.44. That is a big zone for me. That's a 786 in play and some horizontals. And that's pretty much a round trip from where we were trading Pyth in the beginning of February. I mean, can you believe it that we might be back at these beginning of February levels on Pyth? So anyway, watch this area here, 0.44, 0.43, somewhere in that zone. Look out there. Maybe if there is a little bit of a sell-off here on Pyth, look out for this zone. That could be a nice little area. And we have a nice downtrend locked in. So remember, if at any point in time you're feeling you're missing out and the charts are doing this, a lot of up, down, you're not really missing anything until we start blowing these trends. Remember, this market will turn super bullish when the time is right. And these trends are going to get smashed and these things are going to start climbing. And we're going to get those big moves. We're going to get those 10%, 20% moves in a day again. Those times will come back. But right now, preserve your capital, trade smaller sizes, slow down on the leverage, be patient, participate in the airdrops, do the other things, and join Sniper Club. Come hang out with us and see how we get by, in these current conditions. And there's a great community in there as well. And there's some great traders. So that's pretty much the whole story. I see Sarai said, freak. Lots of round trips for me. Okay, that's it, guys. That's a wrap. I've overstayed my welcome here a little bit, pushed it a little bit far. Nice levels here for you guys. Let's see how things hold out. The Hong Kong ETF tomorrow, make or break. Is it make or break for ETH? We're going to see. Is it make or break for the market? We're going to see. Let's see how that all goes. Catch you guys later.